Thank you, gentlemen. Well, it's time for us to spend some time in the kitchen because setting a healthier foundation for your kids has been made easier with the magical range of Nutrikids, a good choice for moms and magic for kids. Now, a special treat from time to time is a great surprise for our little ones, and we know how much they love pizzas and waffles. So today, Nutrikids Waffle Pizzas are on the menu, and the person to help us is Tumi. Waffle pizzas.
Waffle pizzas.
Where was this when I was a child?
Talk about getting a two-in-one, right? Getting two for the price of one, and I enjoy the fact that one, you can make ahead, two, you can involve them as well, and three, it cuts so many corners.
Oh, yes. We're here for cutting corners. It's all about convenience. So, Chef Tumi, talk me through this recipe. Where do we start?
We're going to start with warming up our milk because we do need a liquid that's warmed up. We don't want it to be hot. You want it to be warmed up, just lukewarm. Okay. The whole reason for that is because we're going to be using yeast, and you don't want to kill the yeast by making your liquid too hot. Okay. It has to be warm. So what I've done is I've slightly warmed up about a cup of our Nutrikids milk in here, and I'm just adding a half a cup to that because we need about 1.5 cups of our Nutrikids into this mixture. So I've switched it off now just to get it to the point of being lukewarm.
Amazing.
And then when we add the ingredients here, we're starting off with our dough. We've got our sugar, we've got our salt, and then we've also got some yeast. Whenever you're making this recipe, make sure to never add your salt on top of the yeast or for those two to mix. Okay. So I'm going to put the yeast on the one side, and then I'm going to add the salt on the other side just a little bit, and then I'll sprinkle some sugar in there as well.
Amazing.
And then all I'm going to do is mix these babies up, and then we're going to start adding our liquid here, which is going to be our oil as well as our lukewarm Nutrikids milk. All right, and then let's just start with that. Add our oil in first, and then I'm going to go in with our warmed up milk. And the whole idea is just add it a little at a time and just let it combine. This is where the elbow grease will be required. So if you want to get in there with your hands, definitely do that.
Can you do it with your hands?
You can. It's very nice to do it with your hands because you get to feel the dough, and that's why it's important. You want to feel the nodules as you keep mixing this up. But Zoe, this requires time, this requires patience, this requires proving, and all of that, which we don't have time for today.
Okay.
So we've got some that we made a little earlier.
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Now, I need to tell you that Nutrikids, they have a nutritious range for kids, which includes instant medium-fat milk powder, instant medium-fat dairy liquid blend, low-fat dairy snacks, and 3 fun flavors of fruit nectar blend. Amazing.
Imagine the options that you've got. You've got options from the milk. You've got options from the, the dairy blends. It's completely up to you.
Yes.
Now, we've done this. We've made sure to make our dough. We've rolled it up and proved it, made sure that it stays in a warm place to rise, and then we knock out the air, and then we've got our dough. It's been sitting for some time, and now we can start rolling up our little pizza dough. So what we do is I'm going to start by flouring a surface. While I'm doing this, may I please ask you to slice up some of our tomatoes there?
I'll do that.
And then I'm also just making sure to lightly flour the surface. You don't want it to be too floury. You don't want too much flour on there. No. And then all I'm going to do is just roll it out. You don't want it too big because you also want it to fit into your kiddie's lunchbox if you want, or big enough to be a snack, anytime snack during the day. And the other thing is because it's got yeast, it's going to rise as you roll it, as you bake it in the waffle machine. So I'd suggest rolling out as thinly as possible because we're going to sandwich this pizza dough, or rather this pizza that we're making, in between 2 layers. So I'm just going to roll this out. And then this is where the pizza part comes in, my darling. So we start off with our tomato sauce, or passata, as most people will call it. Get a nice, generous layer there. The one thing I love about this part is you don't need to worry about getting too much of the tomato sauce because it's going to seep out, and that creates the look of it, making it nice and appealing to the eye. And then we're going to go in with some of our cooked sausage. The reason we cook it here is because it's going in between 2 sandwiches of dough, and that's going to cook on the outside. And we don't want to leave the meat too raw. So you need to make sure you cook that. And then we top it off with some cheese, and then I've got a lightly greased waffle machine, and I'm putting that on there, but I'm going to top it with another layer of our pizza dough, which I'm going to roll out slightly thinner just to go on the top. And I've not,
So it's almost like waffles.
It's definitely like waffles. The only difference is that we're sandwiching a pizza in between our waffles. And if you want to make it even more interesting, add some cheese on the outside of your waffle to make sure, it's got that beautiful crust, it's got that beautiful color. And all we do is I'm going to add a bit more cheese because the cheese is also going to help with sandwiching it in. And there we go. I'm going to do this just for additional color because this also helps to bake it on the outside. Sandwich this baby in, let it bake until it's fully cooked. It's going to turn green. Once the waffle maker turns green, you know that it's cooked and it's ready to go. And if anyone wants to get the recipe, like we always say, go on to expressoshow.com and you can get all the steps, all the recipe details and the ingredients to make this amazing dish.
Super duper easy. Look, we've got the finished product over there for you. It looks incredible. Chef, to me, this is definitely a hit with the kids. Amazing. So if you want to get your hands on this recipe, you can find it at expressoshow.com. We'll see you in a bit.
I'll go. I won't have you sick.
Oh, he's back.
Move.
Clover Fresh Milk.
Made with love by Clover.